Okay, let me start the webinar. Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaram of iknowindices.com. So today we are expecting by 11 GMT the interest rate decision from the Bank of England. So people will be curious what will be the outcome and also how exactly we can plan our trades. But without going into the fundamental details, probably the expected fundamental detail is going to be unchanged. In spite of that, what is going to happen to the market, how the players are going to make the moves in the market is vital for us to take the appropriate trading decision. So I'll be giving the trade calls before that of the BoE data release. So between 10 and 10:40 GMT for about 30 minutes, today 15th of September, Thursday, I will give you the trade calls and also explain to you the market reading. And then I will review the trade calls for about 15 minutes after that of the event from 11:40 to 11:55 GMT. That will be the post BoE data release results and the review of the market. So I'll be using the live market analysis, using the live market code page, and also the forecast what I give on every Monday, the expected market moves for the week. And from there, I'll explain to you what is expected. And also I'll explain to you the trading strategy and also the fine tuning of the forecast using the live market code page and also the initial lows and the highs noted down around 3:30 GMT. Now, if you look into the live market code page, you find Euro, USD Yen, and GBP are showing nominal negative net change, and USD CHF, Canadian dollar, and Australian dollar showing nominal positive net change. So, in the absence of the adequate volume, the players are handling the crosses now. That is why you come across the contrarian moves that when Euro is showing negative net change, USD Yen is also showing negative net change. So Euro is showing USD gaining move, whereas USD Yen is showing USD weakening move. This sort of contrarian moves when they make, we understand the players are busy handling the crosses in the absence of adequate volume in the market. Now, first of all, we'll look into the expected market moves, the forecast for this particular day. Swing and rise was expected during the Japanese session up to 7 GMT. And from 7:30 to 13 GMT, a swing and slide and to a close a firm up. So after that of the data release, they are expected to make a firm up. So what sort of move is expected? Then afterwards, they are expected to make the swing and rise move during the US session. So the expected move will be Euro and GBP are expected to make a false dip before 11 GMT and then swing and spike up after the data release and continue to rise during the US session. So this is what the forecast says. Now we will just do the market reading technique using the initial lows and the highs noted down today and compare the current market level to understand what they are trying to do it. A process of fine-tuning the forecast. Now, in the case of Euro, 1.1239 was the initial low. They just breached the initial low and come up to 1.1239. Now they are holding around that of the initial low. And if they hold like this, they are likely to make a small dip and before making a rise after that of the data release. And 1.1250 was the initial high. They went above and made a small upward stop and came down and made a small downward stop and now holding around the top of the initial low as an extended move. Initially an upward stop and followed by an extended downward move. And after the data release, they are expected to make an upward spike. Then in the case of GBP, 1.3234 was the initial low. They came down from there to 1.3201 as a false move on the downside before that of the BoE interest rate decision, and afterwards they are holding below that of the initial low 1.3234, indicating that is an extended downward stop and they are expected to make a rise after that of the data released by 11 GMT. Even though it will be unchanged, but still they will give different interpretations and try to make an upward move. And in the case of yen, 101.94 is the initial low, 102.61 is the initial high. So they are expected to make a swing on either side by making a quick downward move along with the euro and DPP and make a further move so that the traders will develop the US dollar bearish sentiment and then they will spike up euro and GBP on the upside. Afterwards, they will gain the levels also in the case of USD yen during the US session. Then in the case of CHF, 97.25 is the low, 97.68 was the initial high. 38 was the initial high. They have gone up to 68 and come down and holding around 97.38, 39. So indicating that they are likely to take up further on the upside USD CHF nominally during that of the data release time and then start making the slide. Then in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.3192 is the initial low, 1.3214 was the initial high, but they went up to 1.3236 as an upward stop and come down and come to that 1.32 level, indicating that they are expected to make a slow downward move, even though they are now handling the USD CAD and Australian dollar with a positive net change. But USD CAD is expected to make a quick downward move for the BoE interest rate decision and as a market sympathizer. And then later on, Australian dollar is also expected to gain the level. Aussie, the initial low was 0.7447 that has not been breached, and the high was 0.7485. They went above that of the high and then come down and holding around 74.74, and they are likely to go up further. So this indicates that the players are here to make an upward spike in the case of euro and GBP, and later on they will hold high euro and GBP and gain the levels as well in the case of USD yen as a contrarian move after that of the BoE interest rate decision. So this is what the forecast let me give the call now. They're expected to make a small dip in the case of euro, 1.1216 level. So probably we can just wait for the dip to happen and try to pick up the buy position around. They came down to 1.1220. Probably they could come down up to that level, and if they just hold or make a brief down stop and go up to try to pick up a buy position, and later on they are expected to make an upward spike. Use the hedge order to limit the risk, 1.1170. In the event if it is hedged, watch for about 10 to 30 minutes. The hedging is not filled, then you try to, if the hedging is not making the profit, then close it with a nominal loss and then continue to hold their buy position, and they are expected to make an upward spike. And in the case of GBP, they are just expected to make a small dip to 32 below that of 1.3230 level. At the time we try to buy GBP, and they are expected to make an upward quick rise to 150 pips, probably around that of 1.3350 area. Keep the hedge order to limit the risk, 1.3180. Then in the case of Australian dollar, yes, Mauricio, I'll finish off by 10:40 GMT as planned. So that from 10:40 onwards, I think the live coverage can be given. Hope that is fine. Then in the case of Australian dollar, buy 0.7453, you can keep a buy order, and in the event if they just hit and fill the order, then you can wait with the hedge order to limit the risk. 74.10. Then in the case of yen, they are expected to make a quick downward move below that of 102 and also below that of 101.94 in order to give a quick knee-jerk reaction to that of the market. At that time, you try to buy USD yen, and then later on during the session, they will try to gain the levels to 102.75 by the US session. Keep the hedge order at 101.10 in order to limit the risk. If there are any question, you can ask me the questions here in the question answer window. Marishi is asking something, I'm not able to get the clear picture. Anyhow, if you've got any question, kindly ask me. I'll be willing to answer to those questions. So now you find in the live market quote page, the contrarian move is still on. Euro GBP as well as USDN showing the negative. Oh, okay. About the BoE interest rate decision, I'm not expecting any interest rate change, and they are expected to continue as unchanged. But they could give a trigger that they could subsequently make the upward revision in the interest, and that will give the bullish feel. That is what my analysis say, but I do not want to give much of a comment on that because I am more concerned with it of the the trading decision rather than the fundamentals. If there is any question, kindly ask me. Okay, Grace has got a question. How do you suggest we plan for October announcement? As far as October announcement is concerned, soon we'll come across the US dollar to weaken further. But now they are doing the wide range swings. Okay, fine. Thanks, Mauricio, for the clarification. So they are expected to slowly gain the levels in the case of Euro and GBP, and also in the case of USD Yen in the month of September after that of the FOMC interest rate decision, and from on 21st, then you'll come across more hawkish feel in Euro and GBP, and that will give a continuous gain till the month of November. Any other question with regard to BoE trade decision? So the expected move in the market is a dip before that of the BoE interest rate decision, and then a small firm up during that of the European session, later part of the European session from 11 to 13 GMT, and then they are expected to make a swing and rise move during that of the US session. So they are expected to gain about 150 pips net change level. Normally they do that after that of the prime data release, and so based on that the trade calls are given. Okay, how do you take the Euro GBP trade call? Now this is going to be a prime data event for a GBP, and if you look into that of the Euro GBP cross, you find already a nominal negative net change is shown. How? 7 pips negative net change is shown in the case of Euro GBP. Why? Because the net change in the case of GBP is only 2 pips. The net change in the case of Euro is 10 pips. So Euro is slightly more weaker when compared to that of GBP. And that is why you find Euro being the numerator in the Euro GBP cross, which is showing negative net change. So when they gain more in the case of GBP and gain nominally in the case of Euro, what will happen? Euro GBP cross is likely to come down. So they could come down to 0.84 or 8380 level after that of the BoE interest rate decision. A small quick upward firm up move is a sell opportunity in Euro GBP cross. Any other question, please? So no more questions. So I'll just wind up my webinar. I take this opportunity to thank FX Street for the facilities provided to present the webinar. I'll come back by again after that of the BoE interest rate announcement time, and then once the live coverage is over, then I will come for about 15 minutes, and at that time I'll explain to you what happened to that of the trade calls I have given and how exactly the market has moved either in favor of the forecast or against. We will be able to review it objectively and try to understand how the forecast is dependable, and also we will be in a position to understand the market moves are predetermined. And people might think that they are controlling the market, etc., but market moves are predetermined, and that we'll be able to understand well after such spikes. See you again during the post BoE time. Thank you.